haven't been playing all too much this week either, apart from Hollow Knight and dribs and drabs, other things I'll talk about next week. But I did 2 weeks ago during Chinese New Year, my son and I, we popped up to Nova, which is an electronics warehouse, basically, huge superstore, and they were holding a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Competition there. So I'm going to talk about that for 5 minutes. So we turn up, and they, you know, on the we call it the first floor here, the ground floor. They got this huge, massive TV there, and just the one switch connected, and they've got the red and blue Joy-Con controller, so everybody can have a go. And the competition was basically open for 50 people. You just turned up at the time, which was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, and you registered your name. First 50, first go. And they managed to get 50. They could have had 200 people for the people turning up. And looking around, I thought there's a lot of families here. I stand a good chance, you know. As you know, if a few kids come on, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I fancy my chances. And then as time progressed, I'm seeing younger people coming in, you know, thinking teenagers, thinking, ooh, it could be an iffy. And they're pulling out their switches and practicing because it's a time trial. I'm thinking, why didn't I bring my Switch? So they basically said, right, the track you're playing on is Moo Moo Farm. You know, the one that as you progress through the 3 laps, the cows start coming across the stage. So, you know, you go a little bit wrong, you're going to get hit. Your aspirations of getting a fast time are broken. And you've got to be Mario, and you've got to be in the standard kart, which I'm pretty good Mario Kart player at the best of times. And when I started, you know, I went first, my son went behind me. There was this one good guy who'd been practicing. He'd been sitting on the floor and practicing on his Switch for ages, and he put in a decent time. So I came up, and I'm a little bit loose on the first lap, you know, trying to get used to Mario's weight, because I tend to go with heavier characters, or my Mii character, which is a heavy character as well, and a heavier car. So he's a bit light, and I'm getting used to it, so I'm not taking the tightest of angles, and I put in a first good lap. No boosts. Go through my second lap, 1 boost, and I hammer the lap record. Beautiful lap, if I say so myself. And just so you can judge, after I put the podcast up, I'll post it to Twitter or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then my third lap came. And got through the cow part in the beginning, and I used 2 boosts going across the grass to cut that grass and really shave off time. And then as you come into the last section, there's that little turn to the left, and then you come down, and there's a jump boost, which I missed because I got the wrong angle, so that's okay. And there's a couple of Monty Mole paths, and I'm trying to jump off one of those, and I got my timing wrong, and I ended up like a third of the way into one of those circular grass verges in the middle. And it's like, I was so far ahead, and by the time I got off that grass verge and around the corner with a little boost and all that, I lost first place by 1/10 of a second.
Oh, got it.
So down to second. And then my son comes up. And my son's a decent player. He rarely beats me. So I thought, well, you know, our chances of a win here are scuppered. And his first lap, he makes 2 big mistakes. But the mistakes by like hitting the side of the track, he's trying to get used to it as well. So he's smart enough to know that as soon as he's hit the side of the track, he boosts. So he boosts out of it. So the first lap, he's done a really good time, but he's used 2 of his boosts. Second lap is solid. And then he proceeds to put in this astonishingly awesome third lap. And I mean, like, it's faultless, and he gets everything is perfect. The boost off the middle ramp, the boost at the end, and it's like, oh my god. And it's so close, and he won by about 1/10 of a second, you know. He put in the lap of a lifetime, and he took the first position. And then, you know, there were many people coming up and coming close to my now third place. And, you know, people going a little 1/10 slower than me. And I'm like, oh, am I going to keep this third place? And eventually we did. My son was first. I was third.
Nice.
We were well happy. We won vouchers to use in that electronics store. So once we'd given all our details and got it ended up about just over 50 quid. Not bad for an afternoon's work of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And then we proceeded to spend them. My son bought Kirby's Star Allies, and I bought the Splatoon amiibo, the little pink inkling girl, the newest one. So we both left with wonderful smiles, and we went back up the next day. They had another competition a few days later, because it was still Chinese New Year, where, I don't know if you know, when they pray in China and Taiwan, they've got these little moon-shaped red things that you hold, and then you throw them to the floor, and depending on the way they bounce, the god has said yes or no. Now, we had to throw those on the floor and try and land them in a particular way. So one side was facing upward and one side is facing downward, so they're facing opposites, and do how many you can get in a row. The guy right before us had like about 7 or 8 in a row, so he's looking good. And the winner of this competition, by the way, can win a Switch. So it's just a bit of laugh, and we throw it down. I throw it down, bang, 0. The first one, they both face down. My son has a go after me, bang, both face up. No Switches won. But I can't grumble with a free game and a free amiibo.
No.
Good laugh.
Stuff.